So these are the methods that we use to help our son keep organized. As you can see, these 3 drawers are split into different categories. This is where he keeps his work. He also maintains an agenda where he keeps his assignments, when they were assigned, and the due date. In the back of that agenda, we keep track of all the projects. And at the bottom of that sheet, you'll notice some things that we tell him to remember. Before turning in any project, he has to make sure that he meets those minimum criteria. These 2 cards here you've seen in my other videos. It basically tells us what our routine is for our teaching days. He also has one for his independent days. And this is the progress report that you'll hear throughout the video. This is how we keep gauge of what our son understands, what he's learning, what he needs to go through reteaching for. So this progress report, just not only the report, but all these methods help us ensure that everyone is held accountable, everyone knows what's going on, and it serves as a way to keep everybody on track and focused and organized with prioritizing work. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to come back on today and talk about progress. How do I know if my child is progressing in a particular topic or a particular subject? Bear with me, I'm driving. As you know, and as I've stated in previous videos, especially in my Why We Homeschool video, we don't have grades. I do not assign a grade. I do not track grades for any reason, especially now at the elementary school age. I live in the state of Texas. Their homeschool laws are very lax. They don't require us to maintain grades, keep grades, track grades, submit any proof of homeschooling, submit a portfolio of work, nor do they require us to test or quiz. The state just basically says if your child was enrolled in school, then you need to give the school a letter of intent, basically saying you're pulling your child out and you are going to homeschool, and to basically ensure that within your homeschool that certain subjects are covered. Subjects such as reading, math, spelling, I think they call it good citizenship and so forth. But before you take any ideas from this video, I ask that you please look at your own state laws and make sure you follow them closely. And if they want you to test, you test. If they want you to grade and submit grades or portfolios, please do exactly that. You want to be in full compliance with your state's homeschool policies, just to mitigate the risk of having any issues with your state, city, or county, please. So back to my video. So the reason why I choose not to give grades is because I personally feel as though a grade does not tell me whether or not my child knows a particular topic or subject. It only tells me that my child knows or has been taught, or they can answer specific questions based on a period of time. So if I'm teaching my child fractions now and I give them a grade on fractions, that just tells me at that time, right after I taught fractions, this is how well they understood it, or this is how well they understood it at that moment in time. But do they still understand it 6 months later if I don't spiral through that topic or that subject? Probably not. Most kids probably can, depending on if you spiral through it throughout the year, or if you do a massive review before they take a test. Yeah, they can probably recall a lot of the information. But I don't see the purpose in testing, especially if my state doesn't require it. I'm not going to do it. It creates pressure for me. It creates pressure for my child. And it just tells me what he or she knows or doesn't know at a particular time. I'm not going to do it. But how do I gauge whether or not my child understands what's being taught? Well, during the instruction days, when we're having conversation, I can completely tell if my child understands a concept. Our homeschool deals with or incorporates a lot of dialogue, a lot of discussion, a lot of conversation. I explain a topic to the best of my ability. We do examples, we'll watch videos, we'll do hands-on activities if needed. We'll do notebooking and lapbooking if needed. And then I have him become the teacher. Based on what he's learned, I have him later on, maybe a different day, I'll say, okay, your review is basically these problems that are on this board, or your test, if you want to call it a test or a quiz. I don't like using those words. I call everything a review in our household or in our homeschool. So your review is to basically work out these problems orally while teaching it to me. So teach it back to me. And my whole thought process is, if you can teach it to me so that I can understand it, or if you can teach it to someone who may not understand the topic and they come out with a better understanding, then for me, you've mastered it. You've understood it. Okay? So we do a lot of that for all topics, from math to grammar, to our foreign language, to our science, to our Afro studies. We do a lot of that. A lot of, you're the teacher, you teach me, a lot of oral explanations. And also, I do assign work. I just don't put a grade on those assignments. So after I teach him something, he is given problems, okay? And he has to do those problems, work them out independently. And I grade it. And then if he has 5 wrong, I'll put -5. I just won't put, if it's an A, B, C, D, or F. If he has 3 wrong, I'll put -3. And then he's required to make all corrections. Whether or not he has 1 problem wrong or he has every single problem wrong, he is required to make all corrections and turn it back into me, and I do grade it again. So he gets 2 opportunities to complete all assignments. If he gets everything right, to me, he understands the topic and will spiral through that topic again in the next month or so. If he gets a lot of those problems wrong, then I need him to redo it in order for me to better understand whether it's because he had a spirit of laziness, he was going too quickly for whatever reason, or if he truly doesn't understand something. And if he's still getting problems wrong, or I notice it's a pattern of him getting similar problems wrong, then that tells me that I need to reteach that particular topic. So when we have our teaching day, I will take one of those examples that he got wrong and we will work it out on the board and talk about it together. And then I will ensure that he can explain it back to me orally. And based on his understanding, he has to go back to his lap book or his notebook or whatever hands-on activity we did. And he has to go back to that. And then he has to write clarifications on those things, because obviously he missed something. And if he is unable to utilize those resources to walk him through a problem or to help him correct a problem or understand what he got incorrect within a problem, then that means there's something that wasn't written or written properly within those resources. So he has to go back to those, make clarifications or edits to those to ensure that he has accurately documented those processes. What I also do in order to understand or ascertain whether or not he is grasping a topic or subject is I also do progress reports. He just had his first progress report this week. And I plan on doing that every quarter. So we have 4 quarters in our homeschool. Every 2 quarters is considered a semester. But again, you can look back at my past videos to kind of see how we break out our homeschool year. But again, every quarter, every 3 months, I'm giving him a progress report. I don't put grades. There are no letter grades. There are no A, B, C, D's, or F's on there. His progress report is basically 4 numbers. 4 means excellent. Which is you're doing a fantastic job on that particular topic. You get the majority, if not everything, correct. A 3 is exceeds expectations, which means you may have a little bit of You may get some problems wrong, but it's not because you don't understand it. It's probably because you're working too fast, but overall you've exceeded all our expectations in completing your work and getting them accurate. The next number is 3. A 3 is basically good, meets expectations, which basically means you're doing just fine. If I told you you need to get the majority of these right, then you got the majority of these right. You're doing everything as expected. You're not going over and beyond. You're not doing anything extra to ensure that things are done the way it's supposed to be done, but you are meeting our minimum expectations, okay? A 2 means need improvement. This means you are not double checking your work. You are not only getting things wrong, but you're getting things wrong for 2 reasons. 1, because you don't understand, and 2, because you have a spirit of laziness, okay? And you definitely need improvement. You're below my expectations, or our expectations for you, and you're below your expectations for yourself. Those expectations for yourself were set during the first week of homeschool, where we created goals for our homeschool, and I had him create goals for himself. So we'll go back to those and we'll say, okay, this is what you said you expected of yourself. You're not meeting that, okay? And 1 is basically something is missing, something is wrong, there is a gap. We're going to stop where we are. We're not moving any further, and we're going to repeat every single thing that we did. We're going to repeat every single thing that we did for that particular topic, because you missed something to the point where it is total non-comprehension. But in my opinion, it should never get to a 1 at all. And it really shouldn't get to a 2 at all. So I gave him his progress report, and his progress report had some 3s, some 4s, in the performance subjects. So performance subjects are our subjects, our math, our science, our electives 1, 2, and 3, and things of that nature. And then he has another category that's called behavioral evaluation. So again, our progress reports, now insert the a template of the progress report that I created, but our progress report has 2 parts: performance-based and behavioral-based. And again, performance-based is focused on the subjects that we teach, okay? And I only do math. We do math, science, ELR, all the electives 1 through 3, independent work, and memory work. I don't do Afro studies. We don't do foreign language, and I don't do Bible. I don't give a progress report on those because there are really no assignments for those. It's basically a lot of discussion, talking, nothing graded, nothing like that. So there's no need to give a progress on those things. The behavioral based are things such as punctuality. If I say homeschool on our instruction day, if it starts at 9 a.m., are you coming at 9 a.m. or are you coming in at 10 a.m.? He has done that a few times. He knows we started at a certain time, and he'll come an hour late. And guess what happens during those times? If I am on math and and I don't go and say, hey, come on, what are you doing? My time, it's math, let's go. No, buddy, you're 10, you're in 5th grade. I'm not going to run after you to do your work. So what I have done, and he has learned his lesson. What I've done, if you're late, if it's our math session and you're late, I reduce that amount of time of instruction, which means you still have those assignments. You need to use YouTube, you need to Google, use your resources, read your math book, whatever, to completely understand the topic, because that work is still due. And it's still due on the due date that I initially was going to set. So there was a time where he missed a, we did math. After math, we did some other thing, and then we had like an hour-and-a-half break. And during his break, he can basically do whatever he wants. But he got so engaged into whatever he was playing on the computer, I think it was Minecraft, that he came an hour late, which meant he missed our 45-minute session of language arts, grammar, and he missed about 15 minutes of the next subject, which was going to be foreign language. So what happened? He came in, oh, I'm so sorry. I just got I said, no, it's okay. No problem. No problem, son. What I'm going to do, here's your assignment for your grammar. What you're going to do is you're going to go to YouTube, Google, look at your resource books. You're going to teach yourself how to do it. Here's your assignment. I need it to be ready and completed by this certain day. So, of course, he wasn't, completely excited about that. He tried to, give me those puppy dog eyes, and he shed his tears, and he apologized. And I said, you don't have to cry. I accept your apology. I accept your apology when you did it the first time, and I accepted your apology when you did it the second time. It's just not going to happen again. And sometimes you have to have consequences in order to teach you the lesson that needs to be taught. And this is just your consequence, okay? So, is that being mean? No. In my opinion, I think it's teaching responsibility. It's teaching him responsibility. It's teaching him how to respect my time as his teacher, and it's teaching him how to respect his time in his homeschool journey. Okay, so what happened? He figured it out. He taught himself through looking at videos on YouTube. He taught himself via the notebooking pages that he had. He taught himself by looking through the language arts resources that we had to figure out what that grammar lesson is about. And he completed his assignment just fine. And guess what? He only got 1 or 2 wrong. Now, if that happens for a subject or a topic that is much harder, right? He's still going to go through that experience. I don't think he's going to do that again. But of course, during our teaching time, if he totally doesn't get it and he's getting a lot of the problems wrong, then of course I will teach the lesson the way I planned on teaching it in order for him to get it. But the whole point is for him to take responsibility and take ownership. And if you're not going to be on time, if you're going to be late, especially when you have full control over it, you need to figure out a way to not let that happen. And right now what he does, he has a timer. After that, last time, he put a timer on his phone for every instruction day for like 8:30 in the morning. And then when his timer goes off or his alarm goes off, he gets up and he gets himself ready. He eats his breakfast or whatever, and he gets to the homeschool room. And even if I'm not there, he's not there on time. What can you do? He can start on his work. He always has board work. He can start on his work, which is basically a review. He can complete any assignments that are incomplete. Anything that he was working on his independent day, he can go ahead and start working on those things. And that's what he has done. And when we take a break during our homeschool day, for whatever reason, we're on lunch, it's an hour and a half, or he has a 15-minute break, he puts his alarm on. And about 10 minutes before he's expected to be back, he puts his alarm on, it goes off, and that tells him, oh, I have 10 minutes to finish whatever I was doing, that he comes there on time. And if I'm not there, he works on something else. And if I am there, we're ready to go. So that's some of the ways that I track progress within our homeschool. And these are some of the ways that I get a better sense or better understanding as to whether or not he understands a particular topic or subject that he's learning. And again, this video explains why I just don't assign or track or maintain grades. Will that change in our homeschool journey? Yes, it probably will. When he gets in like 8th grade, maybe even 7th grade, I will start tracking grades and tests and giving official quizzes and stuff. And that's only because if I was told by a few high school counselors, I did have conversations with high school counselors. I said, hey, I'm starting to homeschool my son in the 5th grade. I think I want to homeschool him through middle school and give him the option of going to homeschool or regular school in high school. And they said, Whenever he's taking a course that you want to give him high school credit in, maintain grades, give report cards, and you also want to make sure that, one, you have a course description. They recommended having a course name, course description, having a few examples of tests with grades, show a tracking of all the grades, and actually assign a grade, a letter grade with a score on an official report card that you can create online, or you can work with lots of companies out there do this for you as homeschool parents. Track the grades for you. Or you can allow him to take an online course or an actual course somewhere else through an accredited school. They recommended things like BJU, Press. They recommended Apologia, Art of Problem Solving. There are a lot of homeschool brands out there that give courses online that your children can take that assign grades and test and track it and give you all the information you need. And they'll accept either version. Either you do it yourself or you outsource it. They will accept that as proof, and they will give your child the credit. So if my child is going to go to public school in 9th grade and he has, let's say he has his Algebra 1 already, and let's say he has his biology and foreign language 1, Spanish or French or Latin or whatever, the first part of it. In order to give credit, I have to prove that he passed it, he took it. So if he does that prior to 9th grade, again, have those things and they'll be more than happy to give him credit. But right now, that's not necessary. He's in 5th grade. So that's another reason why I'm not doing the tracking of grades and stuff right now. But I hope this video was helpful. I hope you found at least one thing useful. As always, make it a great day, guys. Bye. Headed to work.